Hello everybody, you are watching the UK's only TV programme dedicated to mental health and wellbeing topics, The Chrissy B Show. Today we're going to talk about the different ways that students can get stressed at university. In September last year, the BBC reported that there has been a rising number of stressed students seeking help. It claims that one of the reasons for stressed out students is that they struggle to cope with life on campus. The counselling head at Brunel University, Dr Caleb, said that there's a cultural change with being a student, and that student life is also affected by wider social changes. And according to the chair of University UK's Mental Health Wellbeing Working Group, the counselling services are facing an annual rise in demand of about 10%. Now, Reading University's Health and Wellbeing Department says that as well as perennial problems of loneliness and relationships, there's also worries about the rising cost of studying and the fear of failing to live up to expectations. And actually someone called Meredith Lesson, who's a student at St Anne's College in Oxford, now she suffered anorexia and depression in her first year, and she says as well as being a first-class student, you have to be a first-class person. You have to be performing socially, academically, and it's a nightmare. You're constantly on. So obviously there are those kind of stresses as well. But let's see what some of you have been saying about student stress on Twitter. Heather says, why everyone assumes being a uni student is an easy option is beyond me. Never known stress like it. Plus a 37.5-hour working week. Wow. And Horatio says, a common impact of poverty is stress. Stress can dramatically hinder a student's ability to learn regardless of cognitive ability. Zachary says, figuring out that the difference between student stress and adult stress is you don't have 3 months in the summer to act like it's not real. So on today's show, we'll be exploring the reasons why the different aspects of university lifestyles can get to students, as well as giving some tips and advice on how to help them. So my guests today are recent law graduate Radika Magecha, who went through a number of difficulties while at university. Now she'll be speaking about how she coped with the stress that came with her grueling but rewarding law degree. And she'll also talk about how she transitioned from one university to another. We also have Dhruv Bhatnagar, who'll be speaking to us about the social side of university and how difficult it's been for him to make friends. And we also have our resident psychologist, Dr Audrey Tang, and she'll be discussing the difficulties students go through and how they can cope better with student life. And we'll also be meeting singer Chantel Lee, who is also a student but still manages to find time to help children with complex learning needs through her music. She'll be telling us how she does it and also be performing for us at the end of today's show. Later, we also have a healthy recipe from Danielle Shine, and as we know, that students do tend to eat lots of pasta and it can be quite unhealthy, but she has another alternative for a lovely sauce that's full of nutrients to get that brain working better. But before we move on, let's first go to fitness and health expert Ben Cooper, who'll show us some exercise to help students avoid stress.
Hi, I'm Ben from Benjamin Cooper Coaching, and today's topic we're going to be talking about student stress. And I'm going to be giving you some lifestyle and health tips and also some exercise tips to get up and moving and reduce the amount of stress that you're under when you're studying and revising all night long, which you shouldn't be doing. So my first tip is sleep. Okay, sleep is essential for getting through your exams, for learning. Our circadian rhythm runs from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. So those times are essential. Within those times, you've got two phases of repair. You've got your physiological repair and your psychological repair. Both are essential for revising and having the energy the next day to be able to complete your exams, or just going in and doing lectures. My second tip is balancing those blood sugars. So make sure you're not eating too many carbohydrates. Red Bull can't be drank, no energy drinks at all. We need to eat lots of protein and fat to be able to get the energy and the blood sugars maintained throughout the day, so we've got no big peaks and no big drops, because those drops are going to sink your energy and you're not going to be able to revise and study as hard. My third tip is always have breakfast. So make sure you have your breakfast. Breakfast is the most important meal of the day. It's breaking fast, so you've been fasting all night, so your body is crying out for nutrients. Key nutrients will be proteins, fats as well, but it's important to have a few carbohydrates. And if you want to concentrate during the day, breakfast is essential. So that's my most important meal. Next, I'm going to go through a little exercise routine. So when you're sitting down studying, you're generally going to be in a hunched over kind of position. So I would recommend getting up out of your chair, just getting moving. So rotate the thoracic, rotate the feet, rotate the hips, get everything moving. These are just called transverse hops. So do about a minute of this, and then we're gonna move down to get every single joint in the body moving. So these I call froggies. I've named them. I don't know why I've called them froggies, but you might think they look a little bit like a frog. And they're extending the body there. So you sit back, you're mobilizing your hips, your ankles, your knees, and then you're extending the body to mobilize the back. That's really key because when you're sat in a chair, generally your back's in flexion. So we're trying to get some extension in to help the back, because if you injure your back, you're not going to be very good at revising. The next exercise I would do is on hands and knees, and then extending the opposite. So this is a Superman, extending the opposite's hand and legs, right up to the ceiling, getting that nice extension and flexion. And again, that connects both halves of the body. It also connects the upper and lower body, which is connected to the right and the left half of the brain, which is essential again for revision and for studying. So those exercises, do about a minute on each one, then go back to your revision, and those results will come flying in.
So some great advice from Ben. Thank you very much, Ben. So now it's time to go to the news with Helena Shard. Welcome to the show, Helena.
Thank you, Chrissy.
Do you remember the days of being a student?
I do, and I love studying, I have to say.
Do you?
Yeah, I do, I love it, just as extracurricular.
Were you ever stressed though, at the time? Yeah.
At times.
Yeah.
Who couldn't be?
Yeah.
I think, because you want to do well, don't you? So you really go for it. Anyway, so what causes stress in children? So a recent study carried out by the NSPCC found that academic worries were the biggest cause of stress for nearly 50% of children.
Wow.
So, and further research confirmed that exam worries actually cause more stress to children than peer pressure to be trendy or find a boyfriend, girlfriend. So that's quite interesting. And celebrities talking about anxiety and teaching people how they dealt with it is quite interesting. One person, the successful actress Jennifer Lawrence, she's been very open about her battle with anxiety. And you'd never really know, would you, when she's so successful. And she started battling with anxiety in her teens, and she didn't know what it was. When she finally went to a therapist, they prescribed her medication, and she combined therapy and medication, and it helped her deal with her public figure. And she sort of thinks of herself, her public figure, as an avatar, so which is quite interesting. And obviously she keeps herself for herself, so which I found quite interesting. And she obviously understands that scrutiny is very stressful, and she was talking to the New York Times about it. But I think it's quite interesting having celebrities talking about the fact that they battle, because you'd never see it really. They look confident, don't they, on screen?
They do, but you just don't know what goes on when people are at home. And
absolutely. Also an interesting one, Eleni Mizali, she was documenting her stress through when she was studying a little while ago, and she actually documented it with selfies. And each day of her exam preparation, she took a selfie, and by the end of it, her mental and physical decline was so huge that she ended up being hospitalised.
Oh my goodness.
So quite interesting, and she was obviously surviving on energy drinks and coffee, lack of sleep, you know, all the typical things. And she got an infection because she'd worked so hard and let herself go. She achieved a 2-1, so good for her, in architecture. And
but still, you don't want to,
I know you don't want to
drive yourself into the ground in the meantime.
It was quite interesting. She talked about her happy personality disappeared. You know, she actually turned into a complete laptop slaving robot. But once she got her 2-1, she now says it's like the happiest time of her life, and she looks back at the selfies and looks back at everything that she put in, and she thinks it was totally worth it.
Oh, there's
the other side.
I understand what she means, but also there's better ways of dealing with stress, which we'll be finding out on the show, by the way, because we've got lots of tips for you.
Yeah. So moving on. So stressed school students are also popping anti-stress pills to cope with academic pressure. now, really, really bad. And I think more so because obviously they're buying them on the internet.
Oh, no.
And, you know, who knows what's in these things? So they're being targeted by firms pushing performance vitamins. There's a website called For Higher Nature and plugging health products, calling them Relax and Unwind, Worry Not, Smart Focus, and it's supposed to combat exam pressure. One of them is also called Concentration Support and aims to improve mental performance during periods of stress. And that's so dangerous, isn't it? Interestingly, the National Union of Teachers has levelled the blame at the government for turning schools into exam factories. So it's just too intense. And there should be more involvement with other things, which is interesting.
In the past it wasn't as as bad. It's studying. Okay, it's always been a bit stressful, but I think it's just a combination of all the stressful things that students go through nowadays, and all sort of all the social media that we have now, and they're constantly on it. It's just taken over. So I think everything together, it just makes it a lot more stressful to be a student nowadays than. And obviously, back when I was doing a degree, like, you didn't pay for it. You didn't have to take out a loan, you were given grants, so it was just, all that worry wasn't there before.
Now. Yeah, absolutely different. Well, this is something interesting as well, which is to do with calming a teenage mind in the classroom. It's teenage, but I think it can be younger children and older children. So there's a Marblehead High School in Massachusetts has seen a big change, and students seem very relaxed now, and they're easier to talk to. The whole climate in the school is a lot better than it used to be. And the reason being, a lady called Violaine Geritold, if I've got that name right, she's a psychologist, and she's a passionate advocate of mindfulness. So she's recognised that stress in the stress the students were under, and she introduced mindfulness classes, and she does also workshops for teachers, because they then said, well, what about us? Which is interesting.
We're stressed too.
I know. And recently the school opened a Zen room, which is they offer from 9 a.m. till 2:30 p.m. complete yoga mats, blankets, tranquil music, soft lighting, so teachers and students can take their breaks and have this mindfulness, which is great. And I think this is something that they're introducing in schools now. I think they're teaching mindfulness, so that's good. And one thing, Lexi Say, who was 18, she's one of the students, she was really sceptical to begin with, but she was diagnosed with anxiety disorders, and she just feels brilliant afterwards, just 10 to 15 minutes, and she feels so much better. No anxiety, no stress, just relaxed.
Everyone has to find their way of relaxing at the end of the day. Sometimes it might just be a little walk outside, a walk in the park.
Simplicity.
That's enough.
It's
sometimes,
perfect.
but it's just like, oh, I haven't got time, I need to study, but it just ends up building up.
It does. So, funny things as well. Top exam rituals stress students do across Asia.
Okay.
So an apple a day. So canteens in Hong Kong serving apple-related food, and the pronunciation of apple in Chinese is pingguo, which also means safety. So it's considered obviously you'll pass your exams. Avoid washing your hair. Not too sure about this one. Because apparently it's thought that washing your hair could wash all the knowledge out of your brain. I know, these are silly things. Wear red underwear. Red is widely believed to be lucky. And drinking chicken juice, apparently that's something that's really, really heavily marketed in Singapore. So people always have it in the morning that they do their exams.
It has a nutritional benefit, I suppose.
It does.
Yeah.
So also, something interesting, won't go into it too much, teacher burnout and student stress apparently are linked, says the University of British Columbia study. So that's quite an interesting one to look into further. A lovely one which I thought was really, really sweet, which is something that's been more and more introduced now. Stress Buster Zara, a huge hit. Now Zara's a dog, and it started in the University of Bolton, and it's pets as therapy, and it's brought in, and you cuddle the dog, and it makes a huge, huge difference. 80% of people said that it improved anxiety and everything.
It does. Having a pet really does.
Which is beautiful. Really, really lovely. And there are other places as well. PAT is the national charity that founded this idea in 1983.
That is such a good idea.
And just one other little one, a really sweet one, which I've got to say, a teacher helps students de-stress by writing encouraging messages on their desks, which was lovely. So each one were personalised and signed from their teachers, and 2 little donuts left on the side. Isn't that really nice to come into?
Maybe 2 little bits of fruit, though, not the donuts, because the sugar is not going to be any good for your students, right? But that's such a sweet thing,
That's a really sweet story, isn't it, to end on?
Helena, thank you so much, and we'll see you again next time.
Thank you, Chrissy.
Thank you. All right, guys, so don't go away, because after the break, we'll be meeting Dhruv Bhatnagar, who'll be speaking to us about how he coped with problems with the social side of student life, and Dr Audrey Tang with advice for all students. Welcome back to our show all about stressed out students. Now let's see what you guys on the streets of London have to say about this topic.
So what do you guys think of student stress?
Well, I think like we're not stressed all the time. Like I think it comes during exam time. It builds up a lot, especially like right before, like the day right before an exam and stuff. So
Yeah, it's the build-up, but it's not like every single day. But
like for like 3 weeks out of like a month, you're just like fully gone. Like
remember that there are more important things than academia. And put it in perspective, I guess.
so what's the best advice you'd give someone? Like,
I say just get out of the house. Like I don't know if it's me being like unproductive, but like during exams, all I like to do is just like be outside, just so like you don't feel like confined to like the 4 walls in your bedroom or whatever.
yeah, go to the gym, talk to people.
Yeah.
Don't just sit in your room.
Yeah. We were just in each other's rooms during exams.
If someone else could help you in terms of your stress and mental health while you're a student, what would it be?
To prize me away from the books and take me outside and just, give me something else to do, I guess.
Cup of tea.
Yeah, you used to make, just made me green tea. Or like, just like little surprises, like, so for example, like if someone makes you your dinner and like brings it into your room, or like if you've got something to look forward to at the end of your day, so like say you've got like, say someone's like booked something for you to see at the cinema, just so like you've got something to look forward to once you've done all your revision or whatever.
Like face masks,
Yeah.
campus, that's what we used to do.
Yeah.
So thanks very much for your opinion. So now let's speak to Dhruv Bhatnagar, who will be telling us about his experience with being a student and the stress that he's been through. And we also have Dr Audrey Tang with us to give some tips and advice to those of us that are very stressed out. Not us, I'm not a student anymore. Actually, I'm a student of life. Absolutely. Yes, I'm always learning. Actually, I'm trying to learn more about social media nowadays. Hello, how are you?
Good, nice to be here.
Nice to have you here. And Audrey, you're going to be obviously commenting on Dhruv's experience as well, because he's been through something quite stressful. But can you tell us first of all what you're studying?
I'm studying film at University of Westminster.
Okay, my uni, everybody. Yes, a lot long, years ago, many years ago. So how was it studying there?
It was good, it was amazing. Yeah, really great year.
Good, but it wasn't always like happy and great for you.
No.
What happened?
So in the beginning, that's when it was a bit stressful, because I was living at home, because where I live with my family is southeast London, it's Bromley, and so I applied to just London unis because that's better for my course, and I thought the distance wouldn't be too difficult. I could sort of do that, and it would just be like an hour and a half, hour 20. So I was doing that for the first month, and the difficult part was making friends. And what used to happen is lectures would end, and everyone would go back to their bedrooms or their rooms, and it would just be like me in the forum, like no one else from my course there to talk to, which
lonely then.
Yeah, but then I'm quite a social person, so I just try and talk to people as much as I can, and that works. Like I made friends. I talked to almost everyone in the course in the first few weeks, but then you still can't sort of keep up, because they would have gone out the night before, they'd have spent the whole night like in their dorms together and like talking and stuff. So you'd come back the next day, and then they'd have an even stronger friendship with other people, and you'd miss out completely. So you'd just be like this complete side person in the conversation, which which got really like uncomfortable at times and really awkward. So, and well, not only that, it was also the travel. So I really underestimated it. I thought I could manage it, and I could make my lectures, because they were 10 in the morning, And when I used to go to school, which was just a few months before that, I used to wake up at the same time and get to school about like 9 o'clock or so.
Yeah.
So it seemed like something like possible. But then I'd come back at peak time, which would be horrible with my bag on the train.
Yeah.
And
That's stressful enough for anyone, isn't it?
yeah.
Travel.
And I'd be at home and I'd have essays to work on, and I'd have got home at like 9 o'clock, 9 p.m. without having food, so I'd be hungry. And then while you're doing that, you know your friends are there, they're working together, they'll be going out making new friendships. And I just wasn't getting this postcard image of university that I had before I'd applied for it.
But then you actually moved into
yeah,
the
I moved. Like I was telling my parents, like I cannot be staying at home. I need to move out. And so I phoned up the uni, and it was difficult. But then I ended up getting a spare room. They had one room available in halls, and I moved in, and I made friends instantly. Like on the first day, people were like, "Oh, come out with us. We're going to go here and there," and yeah, it was really good from then.
So were there any other stresses apart from that initial stress, or was everything else like a breeze after that, would you say?
No, it wasn't a complete breeze. I'm on film and people kind of underestimate that. It's not, they think, oh, it's a bit of a DOS subject, but there is actually a lot of work to do on that. And in school I used to have a few nights when I'd be working on assignments, but then in uni there's probably like a whole week stretch where you just have all-nighters, you wouldn't sleep and have to run to a shop to get some energy drinks just so I could stay up all night working these assignments. And
bad idea, by the way. Diaz told us already. Yeah. Energy
no, it's not a good idea.
Good for you, no.
Yeah, and it just made things worse. You just be up all night and you can't work in those conditions.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay. Audrey, from what you've said so far, what are your thoughts?
Becoming a student at university is one of the hardest things because it is a transition period, and actually a lot of people do go because they want to leave home, they want to start almost a bit more of an independent life, and you were clearly trying to almost maintain two identities. One was coming back home, the other was actually spreading your wings and becoming who you are, and that can be quite difficult to balance. Travel is going to be stressful for everybody, especially when you are travelling at peak times, and a lot of people say, well, when you commute by train you can get your work done, and in rush hour you can't get anything done. Exactly, so it's not going to happen. And you're absolutely right, there has been research which shows that university students who live in halls of residence on campus, the more proximal they are to each other, the more they see each other, the stronger their friendships are. And again, you were missing out on a lot of that. Research shows that it's the beginning of the university year when the big changes happen, and the end of the university year that actually the largest stress is felt, because at the end of the course you're sitting there thinking, what am I going to do next? You've had this structure for 3 years and now you're having to go out in the big wide world. And uni doesn't, or it prepares you in some ways, it prepares you more if you are living on your own and you have got that independence, but you still then need to find a job. The other thing that I want to pick up on in your experience is the lack of sleep. Energy drinks are exactly right, a bad idea. But lack of sleep, there's been very, very recent research. I was at a conference, I think it was in Berlin, where one of the researchers was studying university students and sleep. And what he found was, if you don't get enough sleep, it doesn't necessarily affect your performance if you're doing written work or a written exam. However, if you are doing anything practical where you're having to make presentations and so on, it does affect you. So in a film degree, that's exactly what you're going to be you're going to need to do. You're going to need to perform the next day. So anyone certainly on art subjects, any form of performance, any form of the arts, sleep is one of the most important things you're going to need.
That explains why I mess up what I say like now. When I'm tired, I haven't had enough sleep.
Yes. It messes you up more in any form of performance than it does in any form of written test, which is a really bizarre finding. He wasn't expecting to find that. He was expecting to find the effect across the board, but it wasn't. It was in performance that it actually came out.
Yeah, no, that sounds
Dhruv, you seem like a pretty cool guy, you take everything in your stride and stuff, but what advice would you give to students? Because obviously there must have been other things that came up that could have been stressful for you, but you seem to kind of handle things quite well. Yeah. What advice would you give personally from your experiences?
So one of the most things that helped me the most was when I just started being really social. That's what made things really more enjoyable, and just talking to anyone. So I'd be in the queue to buying a snack or something, I'd just say something to the person behind me, like a joke, and he'd laugh. I didn't even need to know his name, but you just have a small conversation, and you get to know so many people just by these small little interactions you have, and maybe you'll bump into them again some other time. And those kind of things made uni so much more enjoyable to me. So even when I was so I'm on the train, I'm just talking to the person next to me, and that's kind of like a habit now. So these skills that I've learned at uni, just talking to people, going out to make new friends, I'm using them in my personal life as well, and it's actually it makes you feel so much more better, you know. So, yeah.
Now I'm just wondering though, because that's good if you're a sociable person, which obviously you are. Audrey, if someone isn't though, and because obviously uni is a big deal, if someone isn't very sociable and they're a bit shy, what advice would you give them?
Then flip it around the other way. Go for it, join a club. Join something that you're already interested in or good at. When I was at uni, I joined the Ballroom Dance Society because I wanted to learn ballroom dancing. And
I don't remember any of the things like that at uni when I was there. They had nothing. Just the student bar downstairs. And
there was that, but I'm not quite a student bar person, but I wanted to learn to ballroom dance. But the funniest thing was, when we were there, I found a lot of, it was medical students who all wanted to make friends with people who weren't medics because they were living, eating, breathing the hospital. They all went to the Ballroom Dance Society and found all the other medics at the Ballroom Dance Society as well. But you still got to meet lots of different people. And when you're going through, especially we were a competitive club, if you're going to competitions together and you're building up that team feeling, then you do form firm friendships. So sometimes it's about flipping it on its head, not going out there thinking I must go and meet somebody, but going out there saying, I'm going to do something I enjoy, and the people I meet will be like-minded individuals, and that's always nice. They can then introduce you to other people and so on. So it's making the most of what uni has to offer, not having the focus of I must make friends. Okay. It's going out there and just saying I'm just going to get involved.
Now, Audrey, we're going to bring in another, well, actually she's graduated already, she's looking for a job now. But just before we go to break, and you're going to stay with us actually, what are the other main things that students get stressed about, would you say?
Exams are a very big thing. Without the structure of school there, and maybe mum or dad saying get up, do your homework, all of those sorts of things, it gets to you have to look after yourself at university, and if you haven't got a structure in place, what does tend to happen is you enjoy going out partying, you enjoy all of those things, and then somehow schoolwork or uni work, it gets pushed aside. So one of the key things is actually you are going to have to start planning ahead for examinations and that sort of thing. You know they're approaching, you know when they're going to come. There really is no real excuse for leaving things till the last minute. That's where a lot of stress happens. Also, university is the time for experimentation with various things. It can be substances, it can be relationships even, and so on. And actually that can contribute to a lot of stress too. So it's a case of just being a bit mindful. If you don't want to do something, or if something doesn't feel right to you, don't feel pressured into doing it. You've got to learn to become, to know that you're in control of your own self. And shift your mindset from your parents kind of being your moral conscience to being your moral conscience yourself.
Okay. So Audrey, you're both going to stay with us, and Audrey, you're going to be giving us more advice, because we also have another guest after the break, Radika Magecha, and she's going to be telling us about her experience with university life. Chrissy B, and my show is all about improving your mental health and being happy. Join me every Monday, Wednesday and Friday at 10 p.m. on my channel Sky 203. Visit chrissybshow.tv for more information and subscribe to our YouTube channel Chrissy B Show. You can also follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Chrissy B Show, and on our Facebook page, The Chrissy B Show. Welcome back to our show, everybody, all about stressed out students. So the aim of today's program is actually to help students out there who are going through quite a lot. Now, I know some people are quite open about when they're stressed and they like to talk, but there's others that kind of think it's a form of weakness to actually open up and say that they're going through a hard time. But we're here to encourage everyone that if you are going through something, please do speak to someone. It's very, very important. So now I have joining me Radika. Hello, Radika.
Hi.
How are you?
Good, thank you.
Lovely to have you on. Now, you're not a student anymore.
No, just graduated.
Just graduated. And you graduated in what?
Law at the University of Law.
Okay. And how was that? for you?
I did the accelerated degree, so I completed my degree in 2 years instead of 3.
Wow, so you're brainy then.
Very intense. So it was,
I was going to sound very intelligent. I thought she was going to say that.
I like to think so. So that was quite intense, and I didn't have much of a social life because of it.
So the opposite to Dhruv, he was like a social butterfly.
So my life for the past 2 years has been very work focused.
Okay.
And I think with law, there's a lot of pressure in terms of doing extracurricular activities and finding legal experience. I feel like there's an extra pressure on top of your studies.
Right.
So it was a lot to juggle.
Well, you did it, and congratulations, by the way, for graduating. So tell us about sort of the main difficulties that you went through. So you must have started off quite excited, I suppose, when you first embarked on your course.
Yes and no, because everyone has this preconception of what uni is going to be like, and it's going to be partying, and you're going to have so much fun.
Look at him. Yeah.
But I feel like, especially in your first year, you forget that you have to study. Then it's a big transition as well from A-levels into your university, because you have to start doing things on your own, like cooking and cleaning and managing all of that alongside your studies, and prioritising studies sometimes over social life. So
hard decision sometimes.
It is hard, yes. As tempting as it is, you have to sometimes prioritise your uni work. But overall, I think time management is the most key thing when it comes to university.
Okay. But you managed it quite well. But there's something that happened though, because you were quite stressed at because you changed unis in the middle of your course, which was like, oh my God, that is a major thing. So what was up with the first uni you were at?
At the first uni, I felt like I wasn't quite prepared for university life, and I admittedly let my education slip. So as I was progressing through career, I ended up doing my second year as well. I started feeling the stresses of doing a law degree, and I wasn't doing well in my law degree, and I felt like my lecturers were helpful but not in the way that I needed them to be helpful, and I felt like
how did you need them to be helpful? What would have been useful for you?
I guess I just wanted them to spoon feed me in a sense, in terms of I wanted them to give me and tell me what to do, essentially.
Okay. Instead of just listening.
I guess I went to them for the wrong reason, so instead of just focusing on my education, I was like, oh, I'm struggling with this, and I'm struggling with other aspects, and I took the decision to leave that university, and I thought that I'm not doing well, and wanting to pursue a career in law, if you've not got good academics, you're not going to get anywhere. So I decided to leave that university and go to a specific law university, which was at the University of Law. Because I felt that they have a lot more of a support system in terms of seeking a legal career, and just being, I think because they're a small university, they could focus on you more, and they had a lot more expertise, which is why, because I felt like at my previous university, because there was such a large number of us, there was over 350 students in one class.
Oh.
Yeah,
wow.
in our lecture, in our first year. So I felt like sometimes you were a little forgotten, whereas at my university, my second university, I think my classes were about 40 people.
Oh,
so there's a big jump, I felt like it was more one-to-one education then in comparison to previously, so that helped me a lot, I think, especially with the transition.
And then after, obviously once you got settled into your new uni, was it fine after that, or did you face other difficulties?
I'd say the only other difficulty that I faced was managing my studies, and I work part-time as well at the weekends.
Oh wow, yeah.
So it's just essentially because my exams were every term, not at the end of the year, so I had to,
That's intense,
it's a lot
isn't
different,
it?
yeah. So I think time management was key in terms of knowing when my exams were, when do I need to book time off work, what kind of plan can I put in place to help me keep on top of my studies. Going to my lecturers for advice was really important, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
Wow, quite a different case here, Audrey, so what would you think?
I think you hit the nail on the head that when you said that you may not have been ready to go to university early on. And I think it's a very brave but the right decision to leave if university life is not for you. Otherwise you end up, it's very expensive. Another stress for university students is the finance. You're already getting yourself into debt. And if it's not right for you and you're not going to succeed in it, actually it's better, I think, to cut your losses a little bit early and then really focus on it when you are ready.
Definitely.
And that mindset is one of those things that you need to mature into, which clearly just taking that little bit of time out allowed you to do, and then you could really embrace everything that there was to offer. Very different experiences, and I think you both made the right decisions. One was to actually get involved in university life by moving closer and being there, and just to change universities. Sometimes just that fresh start allows you not to take the past with you, and that can be a hangover sometimes as well. Not just, yes, I agree, the second university gave you the more one-to-one tuition, it suited your style of learning and so on. But also, because you can come and no one knows where you've been, it doesn't actually matter. So you can get rid of a lot of the baggage that's around. You can choose to tell people what you want to tell them, but you don't have to explain where it's all come from, which is actually a tiny bit easier, although you had to make the difficult decision to leave, than yours where people have seen you before already. And you almost have to rebuild that brand again, rebuild the new you. But you've both come through it and you're both still smiling, and I think that's a very positive thing.
Yeah,
it's difficult being a student.
It is,
and every experience is going to be very individual. But the stresses are there. It's the pressure of getting your exams. It's the pressure of who you're letting down if you don't get whichever grades. And at the end of the day, we always think as students, oh, I don't want to let my lecturers down, or I don't want to let my parents down, or I don't want to let. But it's really us that we need to be thinking about, and that's quite hard, because at university that is often around the first time you need to think about yourself. Also, if you're working part-time, that's difficult too. That's another added stress. And when you're saying about the extracurricular, needing to prove that you've done other things as well, it's sometimes the case of, yes, these lecturers know what's right for you and what you should be showing on your CV and so on, but it's not possible all the time for them to understand what you are going through. Maybe some university students have to be carers for their parents. Some even have children and so on. And there are so many other things going on in student life that we don't know about. And I actually think on the flip side, lecturers just need to be that little bit more aware of the life and the culture that student's coming from as well.
Radika, what would you have appreciated more, maybe? Well, I know your second year was great, but is there anything that maybe your lecturers could have done, or maybe friends that would have made it easier? And I'll ask you the same question, Dhruv, in a second. Yeah.
I think that if I had more of an available career service possibly to talk to, rather than having to go to my lecturers who are obviously busy teaching other lessons and things, I think.
Because you're currently looking for a job, aren't you?
Yeah.
She's currently looking for a job. Any law firms? Yeah. So that would have been really good for you.
Yeah, definitely. Because I guess they'd be able to help you with all aspects of your degree rather than just the educational side.
Yeah,
so
yeah, good idea. Anything that you would like more of in your uni, or even something that friends could do to help, or just to make things happier and better for you?
Yeah, no, for sure. In my uni, I think what you're saying about clubs and societies, that's a really useful method of like getting into making friends and just having a really nice social life. And that's something maybe my uni wasn't so strong in. We had the opportunity to join these clubs, or like sports and different ones, but they were all on different campuses, and then you have problems of like having money to go and travel there, and also time in where you're not in lectures and where you need to be back home. So that was something maybe my uni could have developed on.
Okay, just a question, is Vince still there?
Vince, yeah.
Oh no, sorry, it's one of my lecturers.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, I had to ask, because I remember going to him, if he's watching, I'm sorry, I'm going to say this, but you know, there wasn't much available at the uni at the time, but I did actually speak to him about, because I was depressed when I was at uni, and it was a really, really hard time because I didn't talk to anyone, just maybe one friend, and I sort of just went to let him know, like, look, I'm really, he probably doesn't remember this, but I'm really depressed, and I'm scared that I'm not going to pass my degree. But there was nothing on offer at the university at the time. Now, you know, thank goodness there is, because I've been back and I've done a talk there since, and there are sort of services there now that will help students going through some. But back then, I don't think he even knew what to say to me, because there was just nothing on offer. So, but nowadays it is. So if you're a uni student and you know you are going through something, talk to one of your lecturers. If you find it hard to maybe talk to someone at home, there's always someone. I'm sure now, you know, the Vince or whoever you go to speak to in whatever uni you are, they will be able to refer you for some help there. But it's really important to open up about things.
Can I add something to that as well? If you do seek help, please be honest about it, because one of the hardest things for any professional is to know exactly what's going on if you're not going to say what it is. A lot of people, when they ask for help, they say something that's a little bit more socially acceptable. They will say something like, oh, I'm having trouble sleeping, or I'm having trouble with my exams. Yeah. Whereas actually it could well be that you are caring for a parent who has a mental health issue. You might be having to hold down 2 jobs or something like that because you've got a child to support. Anything that, if you're seeking help, please be honest, because otherwise what happens is whoever you're speaking to has to go through a good 3, 4, 5 sessions to get to the root of the problem. So please be honest when you go and speak.
Okay. Guys, we have run out of time, but thank you so much for coming on to share your stories.
Thank you so much for having us.
All the best in finding a job.
Thank you.
All the best with the rest of your of your studies. Say hi to all your friends.
All right.
And Audrey, thank you so much for your input as well. Before we go to break, here's a healthy recipe from Danielle Shine. Now, probably a lot of students eat lots of pasta because it's quite cheap, but instead of having it with an unhealthy sauce, here's an alternative that's packed full of nutrients and that will definitely get the brain working better.
Hi everyone! If you love cheese but it doesn't love you back, then this recipe is for you. I have created a delicious cheesy sauce minus the dairy. It tastes great with vegetables, pasta or noodles. I can't wait to show you this one. So come and join me in the kitchen and let's get started.
Dairy-free cheese sauce is incredibly good for you when made with real food ingredients like the ones in this video. Packed with protein, healthy fats and B vitamins, this sauce is sure to impress. Soak raw cashew nuts in drinking water overnight before draining the next day. Then combine with freshly chopped garlic in a food processor with extra virgin olive oil together with a little sea salt and the key ingredient, nutritional yeast. Different to baker's yeast, nutritional yeast is inactive and used as a food with a cheese-like flavour. Blend everything on high until ingredients soften and resemble a thick, creamy sauce. For a thin, runnier sauce, add more warm water in small amounts at the very end until you reach your preferred consistency. Mix the desired amount with your favourite cooked pasta, rice or vegetables to create a nourishing, cheesy meal that won't mess with your health. Thanks for watching.
Thank you very much to Danielle. So after the break, we'll be meeting singer Chantel Lee, who is also a student but still manages to find time to help children with complex learning needs through her music. She'll be telling us how she does it and also she'll be performing for us. Welcome back to the show, everybody, where we've been speaking all about student stress. And if you've missed the beginning of this program, don't worry, you can head over to our YouTube channel in a few days' time, Chrissy B Show, and watch the show from there, because there are lots of tips from our psychologist, Dr Audrey Tang, to help stressed out students. So now it's time to talk to another student, but also singer, Chantel Lee. Hello, Chantel.
Hi, lovely to be here.
It's lovely to have you here. So you're quite remarkable because you're only 15 and you are achieving quite a lot at such a young age. But I'm going to ask you about your student life first of all, because you are still studying, of course.
Yeah.
So how is that? How's that going? And do you face kind of some similar stresses than what our guest did?
I mean, school is stressful, especially during exam week. Although writing music is very therapeutic to me, so that kind of helps counteract all the stress. I mean, I'm sure tons of kids face this kind of like, oh my God, am I going to do well during exams? Am I going to be the next Einstein? It's very, very like stressful, especially for me. But I try to keep good time management and cope with everything.
Are you quite a talkative person? Like, would you talk to friends and stuff when you feel a bit stressed, or would you say like?
Thing is with me, I feel like when I do talk to friends, especially during exam week, that kind of stresses me out more.
Oh, does it? Oh,
because,
that's interesting.
You know, you have people like, oh my God, did you revise this? Did you revise that? You know, there's just like, oh my gosh, like, no, I haven't. But
that's a good point, actually.
So I think if I'm more independent during exam week and I keep track of what I want to revise and how I'm going to revise it, I do much better.
Okay, and you've got quite a lot on your plate because you're also into your singing career at the moment, which is taking off. So tell us first of all, as a child, is it something that you always were into, that you were always interested in singing and stuff, or was it something that developed a bit later?
Funny story. When I was younger, I mean, nobody really had hope that I would be able to sing. except I had this piano in my room, and when I was about like 11 years old, I began to write music. And ever since then, I was watching Disney Channel as well, and it was just a big inspiration for me to become the next Beyonce or Rihanna or Taylor Swift. And ever since then, it's just become like, I've fallen in love with music, and it's something that I want to do for my future.
And you write as well, that's the thing.
Yeah.
So it's not just the singing, you haven't just got a great voice, but you also got the talent to write songs. What do you tend to write about?
Just experiences. I think it's amazing to write music which kind of reflects you. And then once you've finished the song and you record the song and you listen back to it, and it's basically just a timeline of like all my memories. And it's really, it makes me happy.
Yeah. So how are things now? Because you've actually helping autistic children with your music. Can you tell us how that came about?
So 5 Acre Wood School contacted my manager asking me if I would like to sing at one of their events. And ever since then I've been so interested in this school. I mean, it's fascinating. And when I went to visit their school, I realized that these kids, they're just like me, except they were put in more unfortunate conditions, which they didn't choose. And I think everybody has hopes, everybody has dreams, and I just want to help everybody achieve these goals because I think everyone deserves an opportunity.
Yeah. What was it in particular that really touched you when you went to visit the school, and what was did anyone particularly stand out to you, or something that really kind of thought, I really want to help these kids?
I saw kids which were my age, and you know, I think that's what really affected me because they could be one of my friends, except they were put in a position which changed their whole lives, changed their lives, changed their families' lives. And I just want to help them become more accepted, you know, because everybody has these ideas that, oh, they're not really like us, but they are. And yeah, let's change the world.
That's lovely. And how are you actually helping them?
So I'm donating all my profits from my latest single to help them develop an arts department within their school. And hopefully from then they can love music just as much as I do, and you know, achieve their goals and dreams.
That's amazing. How does it feel for you to do something like that?
You know, I feel very happy to do this for them. I feel like with my singing career, I don't just want to be that typical, you know, artist that's in it for the fame, that's in it for the money. I'd rather do something that would change the world and make it a better place.
That's amazing to already feel like that's such a young age, because like you said, there are lots of people that are just want it for the fame and they want the money and stuff like that, and they forget about other people and how they can help other people. So I think it's lovely that you're actually doing this at such an early stage, and I think, you know, and you will be carrying on. I'm sure you're going to carry on as you get more successful to keep on doing that. So tell us about the song that you've actually written and that you'll be performing today.
So I wrote this song just one night. I was like, right, I'm in the mood. I have these moods where I'm just like, let's write a song tonight. And I basically wrote a verse, took it into this producer, and we developed this song, and I think it's very catchy, and it'll hopefully be a hit, because the more money made, the more we can help the children within 5 Acre Wood School.
Yeah, brilliant. And you actually become a patron as well now of the charity.
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
So they offered me to become a patron, and I was like, definitely yes. You know, I want to do whatever I can to help everyone there, because it's such a loving school and the people are so amazing and lovely.
Brilliant. And Chantal, you're going to be performing in just a moment. I just want to ask you one last question. If there are other people watching now, maybe some young girls or boys, and they want a music career as well, what would you say to them, how to cope maybe with the challenges, and also just general advice that you'd give to them?
I think it's important for them first to think, do you really want to do this? And then start developing ideas, start making plans, and don't stop. I think most people that want to become artists, they give up, and I don't think you should give up, because yes, of course it's terribly hard, but the ones that make it are the ones that put all the effort in and try their best.
Okay. And you've also got quite a good support system around you, haven't you?
Yeah, I have an amazing one.
Yeah.
I have great parents, great manager.
Brilliant. Oh, that's lovely. So Chantal, the name of the song is?
When I Think of You.
All right, so we're going to be going to that in just a second. So thank you so much for coming on to speak about this, and we're really looking forward to your performance.
Thank you. Can't wait.
All right, guys, so we have reached the end of today's program, but if you have a story that you would like to share, maybe you've been through an experience that can inspire others, or maybe it's a situation that you're still going through and you would like some help on this show, don't forget you can get in touch with us via the website chrissybshow.tv. You can also tweet us at Chrissy B Show or leave a message on our Facebook page, The Chrissy B Show. Until next time, bye-bye for now, and let's now go to Chantel.
I don't know what to do when the bottle breaks. I don't know what to do when my mama hates. All I do is sing and dance, take a chance. I'll try and be kind, but I'm lost right out my mind. Yeah, when I'm home alone, I don't know how to work the telephone. All I do is sing and dance, take a chance. I'll try and be kind, but I'm lost right out my mind. Don't know what you're talking about. Maybe we can work it out. Don't know what to do without you. Don't know what you're talking about. Maybe we can work it out. Don't know what to do without you. I've been thinking about you, baby. I've been dreaming about us lately. So what do I do? What should I do? I've been messed up, I'm so crazy. You never answer me, baby. So what do I do? What should I do when I think of you? La 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 la, ooh. La 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 la, ooh. La 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 la, ooh. When I think of you, I don't know how to talk to all these boys. I'm pretty messed up, I'm a broken toy. All I do is sing and dance, take a chance. I'll try and be kind, but I'm lost right out my mind. Don't know what you're talking about. Maybe we can work it out. Don't know what to do without you. Don't know what you're talking about. Maybe we can work it out. Don't know what to do without you. I've been thinking about you, baby. I've been dreaming about us lately. So what do I do? What should I do? I've been messed up, I'm so crazy. You never answer me, baby. So what do I do? What should I do when I think of you? La 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 la, ooh. La 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 la, ooh. La 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 la, ooh. When I think of you, I know that I've made mistakes before. Forgive for what I stand for. It's just the way that I go, wildly moving with the flow. I'm lost in a world where I'm confused. Without you, I'm a little bruised. I think I need you. I'm so confused. Why is this true? I've been thinking about you, baby. I've been dreaming about us lately. So what do I do? What should I do? I've been messed up, I'm so crazy. You never answer me, baby. So what do I do? What should I do when I think of you? La 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 la, ooh. La 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 la, ooh. La 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 la, ooh. When I think of you.
First, I'd like to say thank you for having me, and it was such a good experience to be able to share my story, and hopefully it can help others.
Really enjoyable. It was my first time being on TV, and it was really nice getting to know Chrissy, and I felt really comfortable.
It was great. I loved telling you about all my experiences through music.
So in today's show, we're going to be exploring the reasons why the different aspects of university life. Can I start again? Sorry. Let me tell you about my guest today. We have recent law graduate Radika Magecha. Audrey, you're going to be giving us more advice after the break, and we're also going to be joined by Radika Magecha. I should get this right. Radika Magecha. Magecha. Why today of all days? When I can't speak properly anyway. I'm having one of those days. Radika Magecha. Magecha! Experiences, and we'll also be joined by Radika Magecha to Chantel Lee, and she's actually going to be performing for us as well and telling us about all the... I forgot something, I'm sorry, can I start again? Oh, that's lovely. So you're going to perform... Let's start again, sorry, the last bit again.